Hi guys, and welcome to Biscuits Total War. This is another how-to video of the how-to series showing you how to modify Rome Total War, trying to get the most out of your actual game. On my other videos I've showed you how to unlock factions and how to unlock certain units that you can't normally play. In this video I'm going to show you actually how to unlock all actual units within one particular faction or any faction that you want, so that you can bring whatever you want to the battlefield. And also I'll show you how to do this for multiplayer games as well, because it's a bit different for multiplayer. So as you can see in front of you, I've brought the Rome Julii faction, and usually they normally bring urban cohort. You can see I've got my 4 standard units here, but what you wouldn't normally see in the roster for the Julii faction, we've got some Persian missile cavalry, we've got some sacred bands, we've got some Spartan hoplites, some bull warriors, some cataphracts, some elephants, camel cataphracts, and some cataphract archers. So it doesn't take a genius to take that you can't normally get half of these units with the Julii faction. So watch this video and I'll show you exactly how I do it and how you can bring these units to play on online multiplayer games. So bring a pen and paper. I'll try and make it as easy as possible and as simple as possible. As I say, I'm no expert when it comes to PCs or modding or hacking or any of that kind of stuff. So if I can do this, then I'm sure you guys can. So pay attention and I'll get the lesson started, okay? Okay, first things first, what you need to do is find your Rome Total War folder, either through Steam version or your disk version. Once you've found your actual folder, what you want to do is click on this icon called Data. And by clicking on Data, it's going to bring up all your Rome Total War files. You want to scroll down towards the bottom, and a file that you want to find is called Export DESCR-unit. This is going to be the file that you need to use to actually make the modifications for the unit roster. Now the first thing I'd recommend that you do is that you copy this folder. In fact, what you need to do is to copy this folder. So right click, go to copy, and usually I paste it on my desktop, so I'll do that. You always want to have a backup of that folder. It's absolutely imperative that you do that. You then click onto the relevant folder within the data file, like so. And what this will do, this is going to bring up all the units that you can use in Rome Total War. For example, this one here, it's got the German archer, or warband archer, and it says that at the bottom it's the Germans that you can use it. What you're going to do is, for example, if I want to open these units for the Julii faction or the Brutii faction or whichever faction you want, I'm just going to, for this example, use the Julii faction. So I'll scroll down, wait until I see a unit that the Rome Julii faction brings. Usually there's thousands of them, but sod's law, as I'm making this video, I can't find any. I'm sure it'll turn up in a second. There we go. So for example here, say if I wanted to bring Spartans or elephants or whatever for the Roman faction, I'd have to choose which Roman faction I want to bring these units for. For this example, I'll use the Roman Julii faction. So what I do, I select Romans _ Julii, excuse me, and then I will copy that. I'll scroll back up to the top of this folder. Then literally all you do is you scroll down, and if you see a unit that you want, or you want to add it to the Julii roster, for example, if I wanted to bring, trying to think of a decent unit here. Say if I wanted to bring some head hurlers, because head hurlers are primarily for the Britons, Julii faction can't use it. I'd go down to the bottom where it says ownership. I'd click next to the Britons, type in a comma, space bar to make a little gap, and then go Control V to paste Romans Julii. So by doing this, I've now actually added the Roman Julii headhunters to their faction, and I can simply just keep on going down. Say if I wanted to add in some Dacian warband, I can go down and add that to that one. Say if I wanted some Britain's swordsman, again I can add that. If I wanted some flanksmen, or if I wanted maybe if I wanted some Rhodes warriors, again I just add that on. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm just literally adding in Romans-Julii. Now say you want to add it to Egypt, Pontus, whoever, you just put your faction name there. But it's really important that all you do is put a comma, space, and then the relevant faction. You don't want to make too many modifications to this file, because if you start doing stuff, it can cause the game to basically break, and what you may have to do is to basically reinstall Rome. So be careful what you're clicking on. All I'm doing, I'm just clicking on the relevant faction unit and adding on Roman Julii. So once I've done that, all you do is go to File and Save. Now if you don't have administrative rights and you can't save the file, all you'd do is go to File and Save As, save it somewhere relevant, and then for example, let's make a little folder, go to Save As. I'm just going to jump to my desktop. Hopefully you guys just saw what I did. I just created a new little file on my desktop. Close that down, and that file that I've just saved, I'll just drag across, replace the existing file, and then we're good to go. So what you need to do now is literally load up Rome Total War, so I'll do that now. Okay guys, so once you've loaded up Rome Total War, just go to single player, custom battle, doesn't matter which map you go on. I'll increase the money. Now what I've done, by unlocking those units onto the Julii faction, if I now go across, you'll notice that there's these greyed out peasant units. Now these greyed out peasant units are those units that we've just unlocked. So I unlocked the war bands, the road warriors, naked fanatics, some more naked fanatics, some swordsmen, some phalanxmen, and some head hurlers. Now you can unlock whatever you want to unlock. You can get Spartans, you can get sacred bands, you can get whatever you want at the end of the day. I've just literally chosen those units just for an example of this video. So once you've selected the relevant units that you want to bring by just double clicking on whatever you want, if you then start the battle, say against the computer. So once you've unlocked those units there, you can bring them to your custom battles against the PC. So you can see I've got lots of little barbarians here now underneath the Julii faction, and for those who play lots of Rome Total War should know that you can't bring these units into a custom battle because they're not part of the Julii faction. Now the next trick is actually how to bring these units into online player, because during online player, for those who don't know, the computer will pick up that you're trying to cheat and won't actually let you join a game. So I'll show you how to get around that in just a second. This is just a little screenshot of what I was telling you about. Say if you'd modified those files in that data folder and then you jump onto online player, you'll notice that it will say not compatible game data. That's basically because Steam and GameSpy can see that you've modified the file, therefore it won't actually let you join online. So I'll show you how to get around that now, okay? Okay, so this is what you do. What you'd do, you'd bring the relevant units that you want. For example, say I wanted to go online, but I wanted to bring lots of head hurlers. Now, what I'd need to do is try and add my head hurlers onto this Rome roster. So what I'd do, I'd click on the relevant unit that I want to bring, so head hurlers, so I'd click usually about 3 or 4 times, and say I wanted some swordsmen, I'd click about 3 times, and say I wanted some flaxmen, so I'd click about 3 times. Once I've done that, I then go to this button here that says toggle present army. I then give this build a name, so I'd call it maybe mod 2 for example, then go to save. So if I wanted to load that build, all I'd do, I'd toggle mod 2 and it brings up those saved file units. So it's hopefully relatively simple. Once I've done that, what you want to do is now come out of Rome Total War. So I'll just quickly exit. Okay, now that I've exited Rome Total War, what I need to do is go back into my Rome Total War files, go back into that data file, and you'll have that export unit folder that we've just modified. What you want to do is go back to the desktop where we've actually saved the unmodded version, drag that folder across, it will ask you do you want to replace it, click yes. So what you've done now is you've actually put it back to how it originally was. So I now load up Rome Total War. So now that I've loaded back up Rome Total War, I can go back to custom battles if I want. And that little build that I just made about 2 moments ago, although you can't see those units here, because you've saved that build, if you go to toggle present army, go to mod 2, whatever you call it, what it will do, it will actually bring up that saved build that you had. So it'll bring up the head hurlers, it'll bring up the swordsmen, it'll bring up more swordsmen, and it'll bring up the flaxmen. So although it's not showing here, to get around it, by saving that build, you can now bring up those units. So if I decide to join an online game, so now that I've gone onto the online lobby, you can now see that all the games are now compatible. So say I want to join, typical, there's no games at the moment. Say I want to join this game, hopefully it will work. There we go. Say I wanted to bring the Julii faction, which is probably going to annoy this person because he's already brought the Julii faction. Go down to toggle. I can then bring up those saved units that I brought last time. Now, a la Blue Peter style, this is a little version I made a while ago. So I've also got one called mod 1, which has got the Sacred Bands, Spartan Hoplites, the Bull Warriors, the Cataphracts, Cataphract Camels, Armoured Elephants, Persian Cavalry, and Cataphract Archers. And so if you want to bring more of these units, you just double click on the relevant one you want, and then you can bring them all to the battlefield. And it won't kill the game, it won't do any damage to it. All you've done is basically save that modified build, so you can now bring it to online games. But what I would say is a word of advice: if you are going to bring some builds, modded builds, probably best thing is to let the other guys know what you're doing, because it can annoy people if you start bringing Spartans and all sorts of units that you can't normally use. So hopefully that was something new for you guys. Please let me know what you think. Please give it a go. Give me a shout if you have any queries or questions. I've had quite a few people who have emailed me asking me how to do this. So hopefully Give it a go. It's really simple. If I can do it, I'm sure you guys can do it. And if you do get a few moments, do check out my other videos on the other mods that I've done, as well as my online commentary battles. So it's Biscuits signing out, and I hope you guys are alright. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please let me know. Please like, subscribe and leave a comment. Bye now.